Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So there's some things that I want to add some clarity on. Uh, I read some of the comments on some of the other videos, and I read some of the feedback from some of my posts or some of my videos about sugar and processed food. So I want to add some clarity to what I'm talking about with sugar. Okay, so processed sugar. The main thing I'm talking about is or the term or the reference that I'm making is to cane sugar. Cane sugar is a plant. It is something that they use to add like Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, artificial sweeteners, etc., NutraSweet. Um, that is the sugar that you want to stay away from. That is uh, gives a lot of people diabetes, etc. For some reason, about 90% of the people that I talk to that has multiple chemical sensitivity, mast cell activation syndrome, when they're having a huge flare or they've been in this flare state for 3 or 4 or 5 months, they always tell me, "Hey, I'm eating bread, I'm eating sugar, I'm eating dairy or drinking dairy," and I find that to be a pretty large issue when it comes to these conditions. Now, your functional medicine doctor may be different. I know when I cut out sugar, dairy, and the other one, bread, those three main things, after about 4 months, my delay in my stomach, I was basically not digesting my food. After about 4 months of staying pretty strict to mineral waters, the Mountain Valley spring water, the Fuji water, I stay away from the Pierre because I heard it's high in lead. Every time I drank it, I kind of, I just throw it up. The Danzig water is awful. It's high in chlorine. I throw it up. So your water is important. So what I was getting at is when I was talking about sugar, everybody interpreted it as if I was talking about potatoes and any kind of sugars. Your body needs sugar to survive. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you have natural sugars, which you get like in the form of carbohydrates, like in a potato, or for the people that can tolerate fruits. I'm carnivore type diet guy. I've done the fruits and vegetable diet for over a year and a half, and I know with the fruits and vegetables, I ended up with a lot of infections. I got sick. I am O type blood. Was my blood type O type. Excuse me, I can't hardly talk today. But people with O type, they tend to do well with carnivore diet. I kept MRSA, staph, strep. I stayed sick when I was when I done the fruits and vegetable diet. So anyway, back to the subject. There is good sugars and there is bad sugars, and your good sugars is your natural sugars. And what I mean by that is, like I said, potatoes, organic apples. Of course, the potatoes you want to keep organic. Your body needs sugar. Your body relies on chemical reactions. So your body is a big chemical. It's actually, when I worked in the laboratory, how we calculated a calorie, this is a little off topic, was we would take Cheetos or we would take different types of food and we would measure the grams of the food or the weight, and we would set it on fire and we would see how long it would take for it to burn. Your body breaks down food in a similar process. It's called metabolism. So yes, there is sugars that you can eat with these conditions, and there's sugars that you can't eat. The sugar I'm referring to is cane sugar. That is your bad sugars that feeds mast cell activation syndrome and multiple chemical sensitivity. I cannot emphasize that enough. Believe me, been there, done that, I know it. I know some mast cell patients, they can't eat sugar and they seem to do fine. but their tolerances is not high. So it makes me question, have they really went 5 months without cane sugar? I know every time that I attempt to go back to cane sugar or any kind of processed sugar, unless it's natural through carbohydrates or potatoes, you know, you got polysaccharides, it's different types of sugar. So, you know, your glucose is a part of your body. Like I said, you have to have it. But what we're talking about in particular is cane sugar, you know, artificial sugar. So I think that adds clarity to that. We're talking about cookies, cakes, pop, all that stuff. So get rid of that. Not medical advice, this is what's helped me. This is talking to 17, 20-year veterans that recovered 70, 80%. If I go to a gym and I want to learn how to get big or get buff, I'm going to talk to the guy that's got big and buff. I'm not going to talk to the guy that looks like a scarecrow. I'm talking to the people that's getting well, not the people that read it in a book somewhere or they read a study. I'm talking to the guys that's tried it and getting better and know what's working. Number two, I want to tell y'all a little story. I'm gonna make it quick. I had a former coworker. I do not know whether this is true, but I believe it, and I've seen some of the processes on YouTube, and I've seen some of the processes riding by larger towns. A lot of the factories or the slaughterhouses like Tyson, etc., etc. And this is the topic of processed food. What they do is they hire like contractor crews, and this is what my coworker done previously in a former job. They go in there with big hoses. I don't know how large or anything like that. They douse the whole factory in clorox, Lysol. They mix hydrogen peroxide with vinegar, which makes like a pyrotic acid. Never mix those two together. I've done that. It's a very severe respiratory irritant. It's a very strong antibacterial, and it kills basically any organic compound, volatile organic compound, living type. And this is what they use on a regular basis to clean these factories with. Now they do this because of sanitation purposes, E. coli, etc., etc. Now, when you eat Tyson, when you eat any store-bought brand, if they're cleaning this stuff every time, wiping the tables down, Clorox wipes, whatever, that desanitize the end of the day, you're getting small doses of that. And that's adding to your multiple chemical sensitivity. That's adding to your exposures. That's adding to your chemical load. And my point about this is organic, very important. No sugar, very important. Dairy, no dairy, very important. Dairy, there's whole ethnic groups out there that can't drink dairy because that's why lactose intolerance exists, my friends. Is you'll have people that's, let's say, never drank milk. They come over here, they drink milk, throw it up. I found the exact same thing. When I stopped dairy for, I'm talking about cow's milk dairy. I haven't tried raw cow's milk. I'm just talking about store-bought. When I stopped dairy and I went back just to try it, every time I drank cow's milk, I throw it up. So a lot of these sensitivities and stuff, they don't unmask themselves until you stop using, eating, drinking, whatever the product. And when you go back to use it, you're like, oh my goodness, like now I know how bad it is. So you're not going to skip 1 or 2 meals of it and notice the difference. Don't do it for 4, 5, 6 months, then tell me how you feel. Follow that. Also, about the processed food story. So what they would do, they would go in there with hazmat suits, spray the whole factory down, desanitize it, and they've done this on a regular basis. Just douse the whole factory. Number 3, I want to talk about restaurant bought food. Fast food is a big no-no with MCS. A lot of people that has flare-ups and they have issues. That's one of the main things that comes up. I ate out last night. I'm a victim of it. I still do it every now and then. I try not to. It's hard to because I've got a lot going on. But here's what people don't understand about store-bought, not store-bought, but restaurant or eating out. When you eat out, you have everybody walking in and out, fragrances coming off their hair, it's coming off their clothes, it's settling in the fryers. It's likely an older building. The mycotoxins is settling in the fryers. Mycotoxins is already dead, so it's still toxic whether it's cooked or not or whatever, even though it's not a living spore. You have people smoking, they go out and break the smoke, come back. What happens? Okay, come back in, they go frying the food, it settles in the fryers or the food or whatever. Food's processed as hell anyway. So those 3 things, and I'm no perfect multiple chemical sensitivity example. Don't take me as a perfect example. Number 1, cut out dairy, sugar. I'm talking about cane sugar. I'm not talking about in real food. I'm talking about cane sugar. Cut that out. Cut out bread, GMO. That's your number 1. 2, you don't want to eat out. And number 3, you want to stay far away from processed as you possibly can. And that right there is, I can't emphasize it enough. Those 3 things is the first 30 to 50% of your healing and tolerances. When I done that, my tolerances, because I was so chemically damaged at the factory I worked at, so I wasn't sensitive to these things. Normal people is normally not sensitive. It comes out in the form of diabetes or cancer in them. To us, it come out as a sensitivity from overexposure. So with us, it's direct. With other people, it's indirect. You know, it may be autism in a child, or, you know, if it's aluminum in the brain, it may be Alzheimer's that shows up 30 years later, or it may be diabetes, someone that loved the Big Macs and the sugar every day and all that stuff. And I never did hardly eat sugar because of my allergies, peanut, nut, egg, shrimp, chocolate, all those other allergies before MCS. So I didn't even really touch sugar other than a soda. I was bad about drinking Dr. Pepper every day, sometimes 7 or 8 a day. So what I'm getting at is, although my diet wasn't bad before, other than the hellacious amount of pop I was drinking, when I got chemically damaged at the manufacturer, and then whatever else set my MCS off and yours off, whether it be Lyme or mycotoxins or whatever, your body's already poisoned, so it becomes a whole lot more sensitized to these bad things quickly. So you take Billy Bob, Jim Bob, they go in a restaurant, they eat out 3 times a day, they're on a contractor's crew, they're fine. Yeah, because they haven't been chemically poisoned. You know, they may have diabetes 20 years later, or sugar, or hypertension, or all 3 of those things. But with us, you got to remember it's direct. And inflammation is accumulative, so at least give it a try for 4 or 5 months. If it don't work, you can call me on the phone and call me a liar. That's how much I believe in those 3 principles. So I wanted to put that out there. I think it's going to help a lot of people out. Talk about it with your functional medicine doctor, and God bless.